What's up, guys? My name's Steve, aka Hulk Norris, and today we're going to take an in-depth look at Halo 5 Guardians Forge and see all the new and exciting pieces and whatnot that's going to be incorporated into the game as soon as it launches. And so let's go ahead, let's dive on in, and let's start checking some of this stuff out. And some of it's new, some of it's been around, and some of it's been revamped. And this very first section is going to be just about your controls, which they have went through and completely renovated and redid the whole controller map. So it's going to be very interesting to see what we can all do just alone with the controller. Some of the stuff that's remained and has been revamped are like the grid and rotation snaps, the precision editing, and the smart magnets. And it's nice to see that those things have returned and they've all been revamped in a special way. So it's going to be exciting to see how those intend work. Another thing that's being incorporated into the new Forge system and is very exciting is the contextual control helper. And basically what this does is it gives you, kind of like how in Halo 2 Anniversary you have the frame rate bar up at the top of your screen when you're forging. It's kind of like that. You have a little HUD over to the left side of the screen, and it gives you all the information on what's going on with your map for your object counter, your memory, your light map, and your visual effects. So it's definitely going to be very exciting to see this incorporated in, because it's going to be a very big and key element and feed out a lot of very important information to you. Another thing that they've incorporated is something that's very exciting and something that we've been asking for a very long time, and it is the multi-select / multi-edit tool. And basically how this is going to work is you have two different ways of doing it. You have grouping and welding. And what's the difference between the two is grouping will let you select up to 64 individual building blocks or aesthetic pieces and group them all together. That way you can kind of like cut, copy, and paste them and relocate it to another section of your map. So say you build a base and then you want to relocate that base, or even just duplicate that base, you'll be able to link them all together, cut it and copy it, and then go and paste it to a different location on the map. And then what welding does is it's pretty much exactly how it sounds. It's just like grouping, but you'll be able to permanently fix things together, for example building blocks and whatnot. So say you build a column and then you want to copy that whole column or pillar or whatever that you've built, and you want to make sure that it doesn't get messed up, you can weld it together, so then that whole thing acts as one giant block itself. So it's definitely something very exciting to see finally make its way into the Forge system. The next thing that's being incorporated into the Forge system is something that quite a bit of people have known about since back last December when they released the beta, and we were able to play on the two maps that were made completely using the new Forge system. You were pretty much instantly able to tell that we are going to be working with a whole new Forge system, and that is exactly the case. With the new Forge system, we'll be able to use up to 1,600 new blocks that have never been incorporated into Halo before, along with some very small stuff, but the stuff that they've done is pretty amazing. With your terrain pieces, they did projected terrain pieces. So basically if you go to lay down like a giant flat or something like that, it's going to sample the area around the map itself, and it's going to blend it in almost seamlessly, so you can't tell you added into the actual map. It just sits there and looks like it belongs. Another thing that's very cool is the object enhancements, where as before you were able to do some small stuff like your amount of extra clips for a gun or whatnot and stuff like that, and basic colors. But with the new enhancements, it's really cool, because you can do stuff as simple as, even with your man cannons and gravity lifts, just telling it how far you want it to push the person or whatnot. And so it's definitely exciting to see just some small stuff like that get incorporated in. That's really going to change the outcome of Forges. And then the next thing that they incorporated into is the budget, and they actually set up a true budget. And this is something that's very exciting and has been needed to be incorporated into the Halo Forge system for a great time now, mainly because of how simply amazing it is. Basically what there is you have the multi-budget system, and what this is basically going to do is, say you have one giant piece of like land flat or something like that, and you place that down, and then you want to place another one down. It's not going to eat into your memory, it's just going to take one off of your budget. And so basically, since the memory has already been loaded up once, it's not going to load it up a second time, since it's already been incorporated into like the code. And so it saves you a lot on your memory and what's going on. And so I think what's going to be basically happening here is the issues of frame rate and whatnot is now going to be a thing of the past. You're not going to have to worry about frame rate from putting down too many pieces or whatnot. But I'm sure it will, depending on how big the maps are, because the way it looks, you can do some pretty amazing stuff with this. So you might still run into some frame rate problems, especially if you start piling up stuff like your building blocks and then your light maps and then your effects and whatnot. I'm sure we're still going to have somewhat of a problem, but it looks like they went through great lengths to kind of decrease that, and it's definitely exciting to see that finally make its way into Forge. And then the next thing goes hand in hand with the 1600 brand new building blocks and pieces that have been incorporated into the Halo 5 Forge system, and that is with a higher object counter. And so basically now we'll be able to use up to 1024 objects on a single map without having any problems and whatnot, as where right now in Halo 2 Anniversary I believe it's 64 if I'm correct, but like I said, it's 1024. It's insane the amount of pieces that we're going to be able to work with now, and it's just going to the availability is going to release some very amazing maps, and it's definitely going to be interesting to see some of the stuff that's going to be created with the new Forge palette and new amount of forgeability basically we have. And with that, one thing that's really cool is now we also have a soft budget, and basically what a soft budget is it lets you in certain areas of your budget exceed it, it sounds like. So for example, if you run out of building blocks and you want to use it like 2 or 3 more building blocks, it sounds like you'll be able to do that, but when you do that it will cause artifacts and anomalies on your map, and no one quite knows what that means yet. It's only for time to tell, but it sounds like there might be little things going on here and there that could mess with your map, but you can go back and fix them later and whatnot depending on what's going on. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works overall. And then the next thing that's being incorporated into the new Forge system is lighting, and it's something that we've all been asking for a very long time. And basically what we're going to be able to do now is there's going to be light objects, and we can place them down to light up interior spots of your map, or even put them around your map to add enhancements to certain locations on it and stuff like that. And with that, there's going to be a whole bunch of different properties that we can do. You're going to be able to put the spotlight at certain spots on your map to increase it. You're going to be able to change the light color, the distance, and the fall off of the lights. And then you're going to be able to change the light's cone and size. So if you want a bigger light shining down, or if you just want it to be like almost like a laser point, like a beam, you'll be able to do that. So that's another cool thing. And then the really cool thing is you're going to be able to change and add lens flares. And if you don't know what lens flares are, they're the little like speckles of light that hit your camera when you're playing a game. And so it's really cool to see something like that incorporated into just the Forge system. So you'll be able to give your maps their own individual feel, and it's definitely something that's going to be very cool to check out. With the lighting, of course, there's going to be lighting fixtures. Now we're going to be able to add in stuff like light posts and beacons and whatnot, which is really cool. So they're giving us some more aesthetic pieces that we can add in and incorporate lighting fixtures and whatnot into our maps. And then, like I was going to say, with the lighting, there's also going to be a shadow clamp. And what this is going to do is it basically lets you change the value of the shadow. So if you have a certain area and the shadows are too dark and you want to lighten it up, you can do that. And vice versa, if you want to have a darker, more angry feeling map, you can drop the shadows really low and make it a very dark map. And so it's going to be very interesting to see some of the forges that come out using the new lighting system alone. And then the last thing is another thing that a lot of people have been talking about since the release of the beta, and that is coloring objects and how much are we going to actually be able to do. And with that, they finally answered that with all this information. We'll be able to do primary, secondary, and tertiary colors, and so we'll be able to basically color anything on our map to where you can do it as it's subtle. Like right now you could do a little strip or a little accent pieces, or you can do it blatantly obvious where like the whole map's purple or whatnot. So the coloring is going to be pretty amazing, especially since they've incorporated 100 brand new colors that we haven't seen before. So it's going to be very exciting to see some of these new colorful maps get released. Along with that, you'll also be able to change like the reflective aspect of it. So basically if it's going to be a matte or metallic color, and so it's going to add little interesting pieces into the map, and it's definitely going to be very exciting to see it incorporated in. Another thing along the lines of this is they've also added in decorations, and so basically what we'll be able to do is add little pieces here and there to decorate our map, and I don't know if that's going to be specifically four walls, or for example right here you can see like there's tire tracks down, and so it'd be really cool if you could even do stuff like that and give your map more of like a almost lived on, and it's been action packed before, so it's not that you're just now starting the battle, it's you've been in a battle for a long time and you're like one of the third or fourth waves showing up to this map, and it's definitely going to add some very cool feels to the map. So it's definitely going to be exciting to see all what we can do, especially with all the new stuff that's been incorporated in. And then the final thing I wanted to hit to you guys real quick is something that they didn't incorporate in, and it's kind of an Easter egg that they put into the Forge pictures. If you look at this photo right here and then look at the map options, you'll see that we'll have settings for wind. And so it's interesting to see them incorporate that in, because that alone can add a huge aesthetic feel to a map, especially if we're going to be able to control how strong and what direction the wind's blowing. So you can make your map feel almost like a storm's about to roll in, or if like you're in the middle of a storm or something like that. It's going to be really cool to see all what we can do with that alone. But that's going to be about it for us today, guys. If you're excited for the future and what's to come with Halo 5's Forge, definitely make sure you Hulk smash that like and subscribe button and let me know. Also, guys, I know this video was kind of long, so if you made it all the way through it, definitely make sure you smash that like button. But till next time, keep it real, keep it classy, and make sure you guys are having fun.